Hello, it is the 30th of December 2019, a day away until the 20s, until the new decade. I'm speaking from Dumfries and Galloway, staying over the Christmas period with my family. Can't speak too loud because my younger sister's sleeping in the next room. But I want to talk about the issue that has been the defining issue, really, in British politics of the second half of the 2010s decade. It feels like longer, but it's actually been 3 years, feels like longer, and that, of course, is Brexit. Um, I mean, it's hard to believe almost the time before Brexit, before even the Scottish referendum, that, all that time before, those weren't really issues. Now they are. I've just seen a clip on LBC with Piers Morgan and the former Conservative leader in Scotland, Ruth Davidson. I believe she's stepping down, or she has stepped down, not quite sure. I realise I should know that, but there you go. And she's talking to Piers Morgan about how he voted in the general election. Apparently in 2015 or 2017, 2015, he voted for the Animal Welfare Party, which must be a very small party and presumably in the seat where he lives, because he felt strongly about, as he put it, there was the main leaders, he couldn't stand any of the main party leaders. He has also said that he feels that Jeremy Corbyn is personally has more integrity or more honesty than someone like Ed Miliband, in his opinion. Before I get into what Morgan was talking about, though, just a few thoughts on Piers Morgan. I don't have much time for the man, to be completely honest. I can think of many reasons to take issue with him. One of them is his profound arrogance. I mean, he constantly cuts through people, he constantly interrupts guests. He's very opinionated, which is, can't really criticize that. I'm opinionated. So I'd be a hypocrite for that, but it's the way he goes about it, just cutting through people and interrupting and so on. And I think that his statements on mental health with young men was disgusting. I haven't forgiven him for that one because I think it's pretty despicable what he said, where he basically downplayed the issue of mental health problems. Anyway, this particular video, a lot of people were praising Morgan for his honesty and for his integrity. He said that he voted Remain, but they praised his integrity in saying respect the will of the people. Now, phrase I want to talk about here. I totally get the argument. We had a referendum, and the majority voted to leave the European Union. So, in democracy, the majority should be respected. That is the definition of democracy. 17 million people, 17.4 million people voted to leave, and 16 point whatever it was, 16.3 million. I forget the precise figure now. Voted to remain. But that is important. That ratio, let's say, over 16 million, over 17 million, right? Morgan started off by talking about Remainers / Remoaners. Now, that's inflammatory language, in my opinion, from a public figure. No time for it. Because it's the sort of language that's used to, like, one size fits all. It's no better than smearing all these people as little Englanders. And for Morgan, who claims he voted Remain, to come out with that sort of language is pretty odious, in my opinion. A lot of the likes and, sort of complimentary comments, I assume, were from people who voted Brexit, and he's kind of indicating their views. That always happens in a thread like that. People saying things like they've got found respect for Morgan. I don't care much for the man. I think he's honest, and I think he stands up for his conviction, but I think he's very arrogant. what I would say about the whole will of the people thing, because this is a mantra that's been pushed and pushed and pushed. For 3 years we have had this painstaking back and forth process, this stalemate, this wrangling in Parliament, and I do think the Remain side is certainly partly responsible for that, with blocking or with attempting to reverse Brexit, and in the case of the Liberal Democrats, outright stopping it. But I also think that the Leave side are partly to blame as well. I mean, there is a contingent of Leave people who want an absolute purist version of Brexit, like a no-deal Brexit, and that's the only version they will accept. They're complaining that this hasn't happened yet. Well, May's deals were constantly rejected, and to be fair, both sides didn't like them. But I do think within the Brexit camp there is a purist movement of a no-deal Brexit, and only that version matters. Johnson has pledged that we will leave on the 31st of January. I'm not going to lie, I have a bad gut feeling about Brexit, but I'm also not a total fatalist. I don't think we're going to implode on the 1st of February. I don't think it's going to be a total disaster. Um, I'm trying to be optimistic under the situation, and I don't want another referendum, and I don't have any burning desire to stop Brexit. But statements like Remoaners and respect the will of the people now, I want to come to that second one, respect the will of the people. The majority won, but we're talking about 17.4 million people in a country of 66 million. Now, obviously, a lot of them are children, they can't vote, and you have to take into consideration turnout and so on. But this respect the will of the people mantra, the fact of the matter is, less than a third of the actual de facto population voted for Brexit. So this implies respect the will of the people, that all the people are united on this. What it should be is respect the majority of the people. The majority won. It might sound like a pedantic point, but I think it matters because Morgan, for example, says he's a Remainer, and yet he was throwing around words like Remoaner, or rather, I shouldn't say Remainer. He was someone who voted Remain. Well, so am I, and I respect that the majority won. What I don't respect is this idea that in a democracy only the majority matters. And that's the mentality that some Brexiteers have. Their will needs to be respected. We need to leave, and I think, to be honest, when we do leave on the 31st, I actually welcome it because it'll destroy that sort of go to. Because when we leave, then we've left. That's it. The will of the people has been respected. So this has been a bitter, toxic issue, and from a perspective of someone who voted Remain but doesn't want another referendum and wants this division to end, I think that might bring some sort of clarity to my side, I guess, because no longer will it be a case of respect the will of the people. That can no longer be an excuse when we do leave, because then anything that goes wrong, they can't blame the EU. I'm talking about leave people. They can't blame the EU. They can't blame Remainers. If, and I put a big caveat, if anything goes wrong, there's problems developing, then that's it. That's our sovereignty. That's what we need to deal with, and that's fine. But it will be pleasant, in some sense, to hear a different mantra, or at least to not have that narrative constantly repeated. From that point of view, I actually want us to leave, in a strange sense. I mean, I'm not confident about this. I don't think it's going to be a total disaster, but I don't think, you know, I think both sides are I think some on the Remain side are overly fatalistic, But I also think someone on the leave side are being overly optimistic or being overly dishonest about how great Brexit will be. I can see a lot of areas where problems will develop. And one thing I loathe about the Brexit debate is this notion that because the majority won, then everyone else's opinion is invalid. That's not democracy. That is absolutely not democracy saying that only the majority can have an opinion or implying that. And when I hear this term Remoaner thrown around, what I hear is if you voted Remain, you can't have an opinion. Now, people can say I'm reading too much into that, but that's how it sounds. So that's my position. I voted Remain. I hate Brexit. I hate the divisions it has caused. I hate the situation, but I also want some clarity on this. I want something to just settle. I mean, I'd rather have a situation where we're in Brexit and it's clear what's happening rather than this horrendous limbo that we're in. I think it's been really terrible for this country. I think the equivalent perhaps of the aftermath of Watergate in the United States, but worse actually, far worse. I mean, Watergate, let's say it was 73, 74, and Gerald Ford, when he assumed office, said our long national nightmare is over. So long national nightmare is really referring to that just over a year's period. And there was deep distrust in American politics after that, but I think this runs deeper in the British context. It runs deeper, and I would like to say I hope beyond hope that the divisions end on the 31st of January. But if things do go wrong, then the passionate side of the Remain camp will not be quiet. They'll want another referendum, and just get or maybe not another referendum. They won't have the mandate for that, but they'll make a lot of noise, and I'll be agreeing with some of that noise reluctantly because that's just how I see the situation. But the way I see it is, people were praising Morgan. I do not think it's responsible for a public figure to be throwing around terms like Remoaner, what he's doing. But it's not surprising coming from Piers Morgan.